Dead, you're going to start with your Joe staff. That's the length that Morgan from The Walking Dead uses to fight against the walkers. It's a very effective size because it's not so long it gets cut up in the trees. You're able to immediately employ it with thrusts, different types of strikes, spearing motions, smashing motions, pushing motions. You can do all that stuff very quickly, very powerfully with this size staff. You got to warm up the wrists first, just turning from side to side, over and back, get the blood flowing into the joint. Keep yourself safe from injury as you learn to train to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead. You're turning this over and over again. Put it in the other hand, do the same thing. This is also going to build strength in your grip. You want a powerful grip when you train to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead. We're going to be doing some really basic strikes, some thrusts. We're going to target things like the eyes, the nose, the throat, the forehead, the neck, even down to the legs. Take out their legs, take out their ability to chase or walk. Take out the knees for self-defense with some simple, basic motions that you can practice every day. Become very good at this thing very quickly as you train to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Take your time, turning it over and out again and again. And again, this is building strength, power in those forearms, in the hands, so you can hold on to your staff when you start to make impact, contact, whether it's training like Morgan from The Walking Dead and you're fighting against walkers, or simple self-defense. Good morning, Garen. It's good to see you. Now, you're properly warmed up. We're going to get behind the staff. That's the first principle of self-defense with a staff. Get behind it when you can, get in a better position, point the thumb, and I want you to practice this thrusting motion first. Now, what I'm doing is I'm pointing my thumb, literally, at the threat. Right there, right in front of me. It pops up into the back hand. Let me adjust the height of the camera just a little bit. I want you to see more of what's happening. I turn it up just like that. From here, let's say the threat's in front of me here. Pop. Really quickly, by turning this hand here, it gets it there immediately. Now, with two hands on the staff, you're going to thrust, moving your body forward, your arms forward, and they're turning over. The front hand turns over, the back hand is turning up to lock into place as you make impact with the eyes, with the nose, throat, right into the solar plexus. Maybe you're going to create distance first, and then you're going to go for a headshot for self-defense. Or if you're training to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead, you know you got to take out his head in order to make him stop. So you're just going forward. So whether you're doing this for fun or for self-defense, it's the same basic idea, same principle. And I want you to do this for 30 seconds per side. It's going to bring your heart rate up. You're going to go faster and stronger, hitting harder. Hitting harder. You don't have to hit a target. You can just strike in the air, and you're going to build strength in your joints. You're going to build strength in your muscle. Switch over to the other side, stand behind the staff, point your thumb at that threat, and thrust. You're going straight in, right to the nose, right to the throat. Good morning, Vic. Long time no see. I was just thinking about you this weekend. Glad to see you. Just turning, pushing, thrusting, right into the middle, right into the nose, into the eyes, into the face. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. But when you train for self-defense, or if you train to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead, you're going to have to speed up at some point. Sooner is better, but make sure you have good technique and you're keeping this strike between you and the threat, right in front of the body. If someone's coming in, if this is for self-defense, you need to defend yourself very quickly. You're going to stick that hard piece, in this case, this is hickory, hard piece of hickory, right in his nose, right in his mouth, into the throat. It's going to stop the forward advance. Then you're going to go to the second strike. To train to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead, you're going to thrust, and this back hand comes up just like a punch from the hip, almost like a reverse punch, and you're striking straight forward with a hand, but that's going to bring this one around to smash you right here. Thanks, Ron. Ron says, keep up the good work. Please, if you haven't already, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Push and then strike. Push and strike. And again, we're going for 30 seconds on this second combination. And slow is smooth, smooth is fast. but then speed up. Start to go faster. You want to be able to move full speed, full power. Sometimes you're not going to have the best grip. That's going to allow you, when you go fast like this, to get used to adjusting while you strike so you can continue to defend yourself, or train like Morgan, train to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead. You don't have time to hesitate. I want you to train in a way that you're immediate, direct, and explosive, which is a principle of self-defense. All self-defense has the same principles. When you're using a weapon especially, you don't want to hesitate. You want to go as fast as you can. From here, respond, don't react. Point your thumb, thrust, punch with that back hand, get it back on the ground. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And then start increasing the speed and the flow of your two-strike Morgan from The Walking Dead fighting combination. It's just the thrust, and that's a horizontal strike. Now that strike could also go to the knee. Let's say this is the bad guy, or the walker in the case of Morgan from The Walking Dead. I'm gonna go first to the head, then I can go down, striking the knee joint. Anytime you strike a joint, they break easier than any other part of the body. You're gonna come through punching, and it's not my arm that's doing all the work, it's my shoulders and hips. You're gonna have the most power when you engage your shoulders and hips for self-defense. So from here, that's the threat. I point, thrust, punch, and go knee, ribs, neck, temple, jaw. Those are the targets that you will remove for self-defense. Or you train to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead. Those are your targets that are going to end the walker. It's going to stop him, right? You're going for the head, but sometimes you have to knock his legs out from under him. Then you go for the thrust to finish him off. Go back into the front hand, get behind your staff. That's a basic principle, self-defense, get in a better position. Stand behind it. We're going to continue to build this striking combination, going slow at first, and then I want you to get out of breath. I want you to get winded like I am. Now, if you like this kind of stuff, give me a thumbs up. Garen says, does the staff like that have a drill like Sinawali? There is not the same kind of drill like Sinawali. However, you can spin a staff like this, Garen. And there are different kinds of spins. This is just the basic spin. And unlike a bow, a Japanese bow staff where you might see like butterfly spins or a skip catch, or you might see the figure eight, finger rolls, wrist rolls. You might see over the head, behind the back, right? For like the long bow staff, that's all for show. That's for demonstration. That's not necessarily for fighting. For this size staff, for the Joe, this kind of spinning, almost all the spinning is for striking. From here, I need to switch sides because the wall is here. I don't have the room. But let's say this is the walker. I'm Morgan from The Walking Dead. You're Morgan from The Walking Dead. Here comes the walker. You turn your hip and shoulder, and there's that strike against the head, against the side of the head. It's very fast, explosive. It's hard to see until it hits you. And then after, you don't even know that it hit you. And you can hit on both sides with this motion. And so to practice that, you get behind it, turn, and it's the same as a figure eight drill. With a longer staff, the difference is you hold it in the regular position. From this position, you can also immediately address the threat. He's coming in, you stick that right through his face, this hard piece of oak, or in this case, hickory. Say here's the threat. Go straight in, you can go into the face, go into the throat, knees, or nose. Anything, hello, bearded gentleman. He says, good morning. Anything you strike with this hard piece of hickory, this is the first link below. If you want to see, this is the dimension of the staff that Morgan from The Walking Dead uses. The difference here is this is handmade for self-defense. This is a quantum protector self-defense. It has these, or you can get it made without it. These are all custom made by a master craftsman here in South Florida who just makes self-defense weapons. That's designed to remove some flesh for self-defense. That's designed to give you a better grip when you're defending yourself. But you can have it made without it. But this is, if you want to see the length, the dimension, the width, the materials that they can be made out of, you don't have to buy it, but you can just see it, make your own. Or if you want something that you probably can't make on your own, this quality, that's the first link below. Some of you can, I can't. From here, you can thrust, you can strike. Another way to spin is to change your hand position. Now I put the length coming out the thumb side. I go back and the length is coming out the pinky side. From here I can strike, I can change my hand position without losing the grip. And now I have almost like a sword. I can bring the other hand on it. I can change hand positions quickly. I can thrust. I can strike overhead. I can come down at the angle. There's that horizontal strike. Rifle, like a bayonet attack. Rifle butt attack. I can do all of that simply by moving my hands. That's one of the unique things, Garen, about this shorter staff. It's different than the longer bow staff, or even the shortest, which would be the hanbo. This is called the jo, the Japanese or Okinawan jo. You find this in Aikido or Jo martial arts, specific to Jo. There's martial arts that just do this staff. Or you could even find this is very common in Budo schools, like martial arts schools where they teach martial with the open hand, but then also all the different weapons. This is one of my favorite ones. Jeffrey asked, can you strike underneath the armpit? Jeffrey, you can hit him wherever you want. Whatever works. That's the rule for self-defense. I always say, try to keep it in the center, right? From here, I come straight up. Yeah, let's say he's reaching out to put his hands on me. My basic rule for self-defense is if someone tries to put their hands on you, you put your hands on them. And first, if you can, stick that right through his face. But if he's out here and that happens to jam up under that armpit, if you've ever been hit in there, you know how sensitive an armpit really is. Yeah, you can stop somebody. And then from there, turn the body, bring that through and strike his ribs. You already smashed his armpit, boom, break a couple of those ribs for self-defense. Or if you're training to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead, that might be your self-defense technique. I want you to see, back to this striking combination, one more thing that you can add here, two more actually, but first, behind the staff, point the thumb, thrust, punch the backhand forward, that's that horizontal strike, and remember you can do it at any level. And then from here, this front hand. Yeah, Garen says, wasn't Musashi beaten by a Jo? The story is, the man who beat Musashi is this famous swordsman, who was never beaten, except by the guy with the Jo. He had a bow first. He had the long martial arts staff, and Musashi beat him. And he was frustrated because he was never beaten by anybody. He's like, how could anybody beat me? I'm better than Musashi. I've got the bow. But what Musashi did, Musashi was a master strategist, right? He fought him, he chased him, he let the guy chase him up into the hills where there were a lot of low-hanging trees. And then all of a sudden, he's getting his bow staff stuck in the trees overhead. And then the story goes, he goes into seclusion, trains and trains and trains. I've been there. And he thinks, how can I beat the guy? How can I beat him? And then somehow either his staff gets broken or cut, and it's shorter. It's like this, 54 inches. It's the first link below if you want to see exactly what it is. Then he goes back and trains, fights Musashi with the Jo, and he beats him because this is the perfect length. And in my opinion, this is the perfect size self-defense staff. This doubles as a walking stick, a hiking stick. This doubles as a self-defense stick against The Walking Dead. In Return of the Walking Dead, right? Morgan comes back. Can't wait to see a lot more fighting with this perfect length. This is the length, the Jo, that is in that show, but it's why it's very common. The police officers in Tokyo for a long time carried this stick because they could immediately deploy it against somebody who had a knife or somebody who was bigger or multiple attackers. This is perfect for multiple attacker self-defense. It's perfect self-defense against somebody with a bladed weapon or a skateboard or a chunk of concrete or maybe frozen water bottle. You can take this ready position simply by pointing the thumb, thrust, punch, and then this is the third strike. I had to get myself back on track there. Jeffrey said, can you pick somebody with a gel, same on the ground with what? Yes, you can pick them up. You can scoop their leg out. In that movie, the first Coming to America with Eddie Murphy, and I can talk about movies since we're talking about The Walking Dead. And a lot of the techniques that you see in a movie are based on real techniques. So this is a real technique. Yes, the Indian police also carry a staff this size in some parts of India. From here, Eddie Murphy's standing, he's got a broom, he unscrewed. Morgan Freeman comes in with a shotgun, boom, boom, starts shooting things, asking for money. This is the character in the movie, Coming to America. Eddie Murphy's this quiet-spoken prince. He's trained against Arsenio Hall back in his home country of, I never remember it. You guys will tell me, put it in the comments. And he, Zamunda, look at that, I just remembered it. Anyway, he unscrews the thing. He's talking to the young lady. And he says, hold on, I'll be back. I got to take care of this loudmouth guy who's messing with people. And he stands there and he says, something like, hey, man, you're scaring these people. Get out of here with that big shot. And the guy's like, I'll blow you. And then, bam, he smacks this straight up, which is a great technique. If you're standing in this non-threatening position and the threat comes to you, whether it's The Walking Dead or Morgan Freeman or somebody else got a knife, try to punch, you can just snap this straight up. What if you get him between the legs or hit him under the chin or he's reaching out with a punch or a knife and you smash that hand? The next move in that movie was this turning motion where he sweeps the legs. From here, you can very easily smash to the ground. Maybe it's a rabid dog. Maybe it's a vicious dog off of the chain running around mauling people in the neighborhood, and you carry this for self-defense. Yes, I didn't, thank you, Ruben. I didn't say Wakanda. Wakanda was floating in my head. That's the other movie with the Black Panther, right? I was trying not to say Wakanda. I wasn't going to say it. And then Zamunda came in. I've been thinking about that movie lately. That's probably what it is. So from here, that sweeping motion, that's a great technique. Back to our 3-strike combination. Point, thrust, backhand coming through. You can come out at the angle. You can catch them under the ribs. You can catch them in the leg. You can just bring it straight across to the temple. And then, bam, this one is already set for this hard strike. Trust me, you will hit so hard if we use this target. Here, I thrust. I bring that backhand through. Because you're turning shoulders and hips, you're going to hit so hard for self-defense. Or, like Morgan from The Walking Dead, you'll be able to smash the skull open in the TV series, right? But he stops him in his tracks. Smash one, smash two, and then the fourth one, you're going to step in and take this right into the face. Think about nose, teeth, throat, eyes, anywhere that you can do maximum damage for self-defense. Or if you're trying to stop The Walking Dead, you got to squish the head. Rafiki uses staff too. Amen. There are a lot of great martial artists. The new Shang-Chi, he fights with a staff. In the old, a lot of the Marvel characters who are martial art based, everybody learns with a staff. It's like the first weapon you learn because it teaches you all the basic principles, timing and distance, spatial awareness, how your body moves, proprioception, and then a lot of times how to switch, what's behind you, how to go over your head, bringing it through. Double-bladed lightsaber used by, what's his name, Darth Maul in the Star Wars show, right? He basically just using a staff, and it looks pretty cool. And it's all fantasy weapons, but it's based on practical self-defense. That's where we are here. This is practical self-defense, but it's also how to fight or how to train to fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead. I'm behind the staff, I point it, thrust, backhand, front hand, step through, and blast. Now, before we finish, I want to show you a couple more ways you can hold it. Maybe it's in your backhand. You just lift your hand and thrust. Now from here, you're already set up to come forward with this angular strike. So from here, thrust, almost like a bayonet attack or a rifle butt strike. And then my hand slides down the front. Ask me that question again, I missed that one. My hand slides down the front, putting it in this position. My backhand slides along the staff as I apply downward pressure, coming right through his temple, his jawbone, his neck, his shoulder, his ribs, his hips, his knees, for self-defense. So from here, my front hand's free. Hey, buddy, you're too close. And then I have a big piece of hickory between me and the threat. If it's a walker, you're not talking to him, right? You just smash and then thrust. Backhand through. There's the 3-strike combination. We'll make it 4 with that same finishing motion. Backhand to the front hand. I simply lift this up. And notice that I try to keep this elbow close to my body. The more my elbow goes out, the more the shoulder has to work. If you don't have strong shoulders, you keep it in tight here like this. You don't have to have strong shoulders here. From here, thrust. See the slide? bring it through, sliding down, bring the backhand through, I'm sliding again to bring this right across the jaw. Could you remove a person with a gun with a Joe? You could, technically. My personal opinion about self-defense against the gun is if someone pulls out a gun, they shoot you most of the time. So by the time you're trying to defend it, you've already been shot. The best thing to do is, if you can't be there, don't be there, obviously. Or if you feel immediately threatened, strike before they can get it out, right? If you can. Now, if someone's holding you, like in a movie scene, like Coming to America, then stand here like this, be all calm and cool, smash straight up, and then sweep the leg the other way, smash, thrust through his face, smash his head, smash, and then sweep the leg if it's like a movie scene. If it's real life, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be shot. Or, if they want your wallet, give them their wallet, right? Give them whatever they're asking for. Don't fight them. If you've got a stick and they got a gun, you're gonna lose. There's no way. Theoretically, yes, you can do anything. Theoretically, you can do anything. My personal opinion is, if you find yourself in a position where you've got a stick and they've got a gun and you haven't already been shot, you might as well go for it, right? Unless you have something to give them and that they walk away. Don't take the risk. There's no reason to try to fight gun against stick. You're gonna lose. That's the evolution of man, right? We started with rocks. We started biting each other probably, and then smashing each other in the head with a rock, Cain and Abel, and then in the Bible, and then sticks, and then pointing sticks, spears, and then shooting sticks, bows and arrows, and javelins, and all that other stuff. And every country had a different version of that. And then after bows and arrows, and swords, we started getting metal, and bladed weapons. But then gunpowder came around and it changed everything. So you don't take a knife to a gunfight and you don't take a stick to a gunfight. But you can still train. It's better than nothing. You might as well try to do something while you're standing around doing nothing, right? It's in your backhand, you bring it up, you thrust, bring it through, smash here, step in, and blast them. One more time from there, it's the backhand, bring it up, thrust, down, bring it through, and push. Now, one last thing I want you to practice. This is a little bit different. Start in this position, point the thumb like you normally would, and imagine the threat is behind you. Reach your hand to the front, look, there it is, and smash like this. Just get in this habit. Stick it in his groin, stick it in his knee, stick it in his shin, stick it on his foot. If it's that vicious dog, smash right to the face. Then from there, I want you to practice stepping forward and swinging that forward, either knee level, ankle level, thigh level, waist, bring it up to the head if you want to. Yes. Shake Scan says you don't take a gun to a knife fight in the old days, or a knife to a gunfight. I'm not sure, maybe you said gun to a knife fight. Point it, thrust. So just practice a backward thrust, right? Point it, thrust, but then practice stepping and sweeping at the same time. That's a hard, powerful strike. Jeffrey says, I'm trying to get more ideas for martial arts background, study Shorin-ryu. Yeah, in a good Shorin-ryu school, Shorin-ryu is just the style, right? The ryu means the style. You would have some of these weapons, right? But as we've evolved, and as time has dictated, teaching weapons is hard. I tell you, probably one of the hardest weapons to teach is the nunchucks. I find it one of the easiest to learn, but it's one of the hardest to teach. Hey, Naj, it's good to see you. But both staff, that's why I always start with staff, because I can get people to figure out a little bit how to turn it and turn, even if they're not doing it perfectly at first. Once you get it in motion, then you start to get better at it and better at it. And then I teach them how to do these motions, and then eventually we get them into wrist rolls, and then I'll go and I'll teach them how to do the nunchucks, because a lot of the motion is the same. It's one of the best parts of using a martial arts as a weapon. From this final position, right? I had you point and push back and slide forward here. Then I want you to just pick it up. And when you pick it up, I want you to practice bringing your hands toward your face and not your arms away from your body. Bring your hands toward your face, practice this thrusting motion. So from here, you point it, smash the guy behind you, go for the groin. Remember, that's just a pushing motion. You can aim it wherever you want, right? But just practice that. Think about what is behind you and how you can address it. A lot of people never really develop a sense of what's behind them. Especially now, as we become more and more sedentary as a society, it's a real thing. When I teach social emotional learning to the children during the week, that's how I'm paying the bills, keeping the lights on. Teaching social emotional learning in schools to children. And a big part of what's happened is because there's so much tablet time, so much fear of parents. They don't let the kids play in the neighborhood anymore. Parents are busier, lifestyles are different. Everybody is living inside more than they are outside. Kids are becoming weaker in the West. In the rest of the world, they're getting ready to eat our lunch. But in the West, become weaker and frail and a lot more obese. But one of the biggest issues is spatial awareness and proprioception. Kids don't have a good sense, especially of what's happening back here behind them. So, and that can be true for anybody at any age if you don't train and think about what's behind you. So practice, bam, look back there, hit something, bring it forward, lift it up, thrust it, and practice that in combination. Get it into the other hand, push, smash them back here, step in, lift, thrust. If you want, change that grip and add another strike. There is such a thing as fighting bare hand. Yes, favorite weapon on Marl is the Joe or the Dabo. Amen. All right. There are lots of different styles of empty-handed fighting. Almost all of them came with a weapon first. They started with weapons. So like even Shorin-ryu or Ishin-ryu or Shotokan or any of the karate martial arts started from jiu-jitsu and split. Jiu-jitsu split into two. One way went more grappling, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, judo, aikido. One way went more into karate, and then the Korean derivations, tangsudo, taekwondo, and hwarangdo is more like, well, hapkido is more like the old style jiu-jitsu that has more striking and the grappling in it. But if you look at where a lot of the techniques come from, punching, striking, blocking, they all come from having a weapon in your hand, right? And striking with either this kind of weapon, a long weapon, or a sword, a lot of sword fighting techniques. That's where a lot of the understanding of how to block empty hand or open hand. Empty hand just means there's no weapon in your hand. It comes from there first. There would be no reason to fight, other than a punch or a kick. All of the grappling, all of the twisting, all of the snapping stuff comes from that. Since Amos says Morgan versus Michonne from The Walking Dead, I'm always going to be a Morgan fan, and it's simple because he's got a staff. Anytime, it's like there was that Star Wars movie, maybe Rogue One, where I think Donnie Yen has a staff and he fights all the guys with the staff. I love that. That's my favorite scene from Star Wars, other than like the old movies that I grew up on with Yoda and wherever he was in the swamp or whatever, moving things with his head. I love that kind of stuff. But for the new Star Wars movies in the last 20 years, I saw him fight people with that staff. And I'm like, I'm sold. Of course, you could beat a bunch of guys with laser guns if you had a staff and you were good at it. Plus you were blind, like in the movie. How could you not, right? And how could I not love that guy and that character when that's the premise, that he just has a plain old staff and he's whipping people with his handmade, whatever it was made out of staff, and they've got laser guns and white suits and they're running around doing, stormtrooper kind of stuff. Anyway, you guys have been awesome. I'm going to make another video later today. I got to run a bunch of errands. I've got a bunch of classes, and then I'll see you later tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and give me the thumbs up or thumbs down, but put the comments in the comment section below. And the question of the day is, what's your favorite length staff? Are you a Joe staff fan? Do you like the Hanbo, the shorter one, or the really tall one? Let me know in the comment section, and then comment on each other's comments, please. Make this a martial arts community. This is our virtual dojo. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's good to see you again, Vic. It's good to see everybody. Since Amit, cheers.